Hi everyone, welcome back or welcome in. It's everyone's favourite salty gamer, Artemis, and today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the psychology of Ellie from The Last of Us. She is the spunky, no, never use that word again, the ferocious teenager who's been through more trauma than your average adult. Also, please note there are no spoilers for The Last of Us Part 2 or anything beyond Season 1 of The Last of Us, but everything else is fair game, so consider yourself warned. As I did in my psychological breakdown of Joel, we're going to split this video into different sections: early life and trauma, relationships, survivor's guilt, abandonment complex, post-traumatic growth, and cognitive dissonance. To start things off, let's talk about Ellie's personality and her early life. She's a girl who's grown up in a post-apocalyptic world, and as a result, she's had to grow up quickly and has become very independent. She's very resourceful, resilient, and has a very strong will to survive, as I think that you sort of have to when there's zombies trying to eat your brains. She's got fantastic mood swings, which I really appreciate. One minute she's cracking jokes, and then the next minute she's ready to kill someone, and I relate to this more than anything. Well, my friends, that's called emotional dysregulation, and it's a common symptom of PTSD. But when you've been through as much as Ellie has, it's really hard to regulate your emotions. And sometimes that means going from 0 to I'll murder your entire family in a matter of seconds. But yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. First, let's look at her background. She was born into a world that is entirely chaotic. In the midst of a fungal pandemic that turns people into zombies, she has never known a world without violence or danger. We know sweet f*** all about Ellie's dad, leading me to believe she was an immaculate conception by this powerhouse of a human. In the show, you get a bit more information about Ellie's mum compared to in the games. Primarily, Anna, Ellie's mum, is a fighter. Like mother, like daughter. Anna, like all Disney princess mothers, is killed off before the events of the show start, leaving Ellie in the emotional dead hands of terrorists. And yes, I know most humans have good sides and bad sides to them, and every character in this story is multifaceted. I don't have time to do a psychological breakdown of this beautiful lunatic today, so the too long Artemis please stop talking is that instead of caring for her best friend's child, she passes her to the enemy. This may have seemed clever to Captain Good Idea here, but being raised in such an authoritarian environment led to a lack of trust in authority figures, making Ellie question the status quo. She's developed a healthy skepticism towards those in power, which we see in her questioning Joel's actions constantly. This girl's got a mind of her own, and she is not afraid to use it, even if 80 times out of 10 she is using that mind to make stupid decisions. But that's just teenagers for you. In a nutshell, she was raised parentless and alone by an army in a society where on the outside there are human-hungry mushrooms, and on the inside there are constant threats of terrorism and violence. This early exposure to trauma most definitely had a significant impact on Ellie's development. Studies have shown that children who grow up in environments that are marked by violence and danger develop a variety of psychological problems, including, but not limited to, anxiety, depression, PTSD. And I mean, even if the studies didn't show us this, any basic use of that big sexy organ in your noggin will tell you that violence and danger are bad for kids. Now let's talk about Ellie's relationship with the characters that she comes across. The significant relationship that Ellie has is with her friend/girlfriend, Riley. Ellie and Riley's relationship is one of the few positive relationships that Ellie has in the story, and even then it's a bit warped. Not warped in a particularly bad way, just in a normal teenage way, but regardless, it's clear that they do care for each other deeply and they have a strong bond. After spending time getting to know these characters and beginning to root for them, an infected joins the dance, and we learn that both Riley and Ellie were bitten. There's a very Romeo and Juliet feel to this whole thing. An older person taking advantage of a younger girl who was infatuated, and then everyone dies. Or expects to die. I cannot begin to comprehend the absolute devastation Ellie must feel when it dawns on her that she's immune and Riley isn't. This is still one of the nastiest things that Mason did to have this happen off screen. But alas, I'm not here to rant. According to research in the field of trauma psychology, the sudden and unexpected loss of a loved one can have a profound impact on a person's mental health. This can include feelings of guilt and anger and depression, and this is just for normal people who aren't surviving in an apocalypse. For Ellie, the impact of losing Riley is only compounded by the fact that she's had to deal with so much trauma already, then subsequently kill a girlfriend. I mean, I don't think the term super mega trauma exists, but I think this would classify as that. From here on out, she carries the guilt of Riley's death everywhere she goes, but also the anger that she's been abandoned by the only person she's ever really cared for.
Oh, jeez.
Obviously, one of the other most significant relationships Ellie has is with Joel. Ellie and Joel's relationship evolves over the course of the story, starting off as a somewhat strained partnership and ending in a strong daughter-father bond. Father-daughter bond? I don't know, a good bond. This relationship is an example of attachment theory, which suggests that our early experiences with our caregivers definitely shape our ability to form relationships later in life. Ellie's relationship with Joel is an example of how attachment figures can be formed outside of the traditional family structure. Ellie's relationships with other characters also illustrate her sense of morality. She has a strong sense of right and wrong and is not afraid to speak her mind. However, she does have a darker side, which we won't be addressing in this video because spoilers. Also, don't be that doorknob who spoils part 2 in the comments. Instead, just leave your mom's basement, go for a walk, look at the sky, breathe in the fresh air. Anyway, the fact that Ellie is able to form meaningful relationships with Joel shows that she is a resilient kid. This resilience in the face of trauma is something that psychologists call post-traumatic growth. It's a testament to Ellie's strength and determination. She may have been dealt a difficult hand, but she's able to find meaning and purpose in the midst of her pain. However, we'll look a little bit more at this later. First, we're going to look at survivor's guilt. You know that feeling you get when you survive something traumatic and others don't? Yeah, me neither. Ellie has been through a lot of messed up stuff and she's lost a ton of people that she cares about. It's only natural that she might feel guilty for being one of the few who's still alive. We see at the end of the story that she clearly feels a sense of responsibility to do something meaningful with her life, especially given the loss and devastation around her. I think this is down to how guilty she feels. Although she doesn't know that potentially creating a cure is something that she'll give her life for, I honestly believe that she would have given it either way. Which, as a side tangent, makes the story's ending so much better. I touched on this in the Psychology of Joel video, which you 100% should go and watch after this, by the way. But Ellie is not given autonomy of her own choices when it comes to saving humanity. It's her body, her mutation, yet she's not given a say. That's why something doesn't sit right with Ellie. She's not an idiot most of the time. She wakes up and every Firefly is conveniently dead, and we're just never going to talk about that cure again. Okay, Joel, you okay, hun? So what does it all mean? Well, for one thing, it shows us how much trauma can affect a person's psychology long after the traumatic event has passed, and it also adds yet another layer to Ellie's already complex character, making her more relatable and human. And we need this because, my God, sometimes I wanted to slap that child across the chops. You're in a zombie apocalypse, girl, get away from that dead body. When Sam was bitten and turned, Henry was forced to shoot him again, and obviously this had a profound effect on Ellie. She's already experienced so much loss and trauma in her life, and she was just getting to know Sam. They were just starting to build that little relationship, and his death was yet another reminder of the brutal reality of their world. After Sam's death, Ellie became withdrawn and distant, and it was actually Joel who began to comfort her and protect her. But yeah, every time someone dies, she's wondering why she's alive. It's a common case of survivor's guilt, which is normally a byproduct of PTSD. Oddly enough, it was Joel's shift in treatment of Ellie after this event which brings us to our next issue, abandonment. Ellie has got some serious abandonment issues. I mean, who wouldn't after losing everybody they've ever cared about? It's a classic case of attachment trauma, which is common in early childhood trauma. Ellie's biggest fear is losing people that she loves, which is why she's so protective of Joel. And if anyone tries to hurt them, they better watch out because she's very good with a machete. Joel's shift in treatment of Ellie led to Ellie believing that she could have a relationship with another human, but she was willing to protect that relationship at all costs, just like Joel was with her. Losing all the people she's ever cared about has left Ellie with a fear of losing people, obviously. This is very normal with grief. Someone has died, therefore everyone will die. It makes people scared that they'll be left all alone, and this fear of abandonment is evident in her relationship with Joel. She often seeks reassurance from him and expresses concern that he'll leave her, particularly in this scene where Pedro Pascal is daddying all over the place. Ellie's abandonment complex is also evident in her reluctance to form attachments with other people. She has brick walls which she does not let people pass easily. She often pushes people away or keeps them at arm's length because it saves her from getting hurt if they do leave. For instance, she's initially very guarded when it comes to Tess, but gradually warms up as they spend more time together. Furthermore, Ellie's abandonment complex is reflected in her tendency to act out or engage in risky behaviour. She may engage in reckless actions or push boundaries in an effort to see if the people that she cares about will still be there for her. This is particularly evident in her decision when she runs away from Joel and decides to take matters into her own hands. This is something that only my gamer buddies will get though, because they didn't include that in the show. But she also does a number of stupid things when she's with Riley. Ellie, please God, leave the alcohol. While she has a toughened exterior from a fear of losing those she cares about, Ellie can form new relationships over time. This is an example of post-traumatic growth. This is when someone experiences positive changes after going through trauma, because trauma isn't complex enough without adding positive vibes to it. Ellie is brave. I think this is actually a very cool understatement. That girl is a fucking badass. She has faced and survived being raised by militia, infected, cannibals, bandits, and dead zombie giants. Wait, wrong franchise. But yeah, Ellie has learned how to fight, how to survive, and how to trust people again. Ellie's experiences also allow her to gain a deeper understanding of herself and the place in the world that she holds. She grapples with questions of morality, justice, and identity throughout the story, and is able to come to her own conclusions about what's right and wrong based on her own experiences and values. This growth is most clearly seen in the final moments of the story. Imagine episode 1 Ellie talking about Riley and giving Joel the time of day rather than just calling him out on his bullshit. Ellie makes a choice that reflects her own moral compass. This leads me to my final consideration, cognitive dissonance. This is a psychological term that refers to the mental discomfort or psychological stress that somebody experiences when they have two or more contradictory beliefs at the same time. Ellie experiences cognitive dissonance because she's conflicted about her desire to save humanity and a love for Joel, who prevents her from doing so. Ellie chooses to believe Joel. Look at that face. There is no way on God's green earth that girl believes a word he is saying. Have you ever had that friend that knows that they're getting cheated on, but to confront the cheater means that they'll lose everything, so they just don't? Well, yeah, that's this times a million. If Ellie faces the truth that Joel is lying, she loses everything. To her, Joel is what she wanted: a parent, stability, protection, and the promise of normality. As a teenager, Ellie's searching for herself and her identity. When you've been through as much as she has, it's hard to know who you really are. Ellie's been a survivor, a killer, a friend, a daughter, and even a badass lesbian icon. But at the end of the day, she's just a teenager trying to find her place in this messed up world. Where the dissonance comes in is when you consider Ellie desires purpose. Throughout the story, she's searching for a sense of meaning in a world that's been stripped of it. This search for purpose is something that many can relate to, and it's a common theme in psychology. Studies have shown that having a sense of purpose in life is associated with better mental health outcomes. The moral dilemma of believing Joel goes against her better judgment, as she must believe that she now has no purpose. How could we have fixed this? Well, Tweedledum and Dumber here could have given her a choice, but they didn't, so Ellie is stuck in limbo between wanting the life she's dreamed of, but also wanting purpose to fix everything and everyone that she thinks she's wronged, aka letting people die. God damn, Ellie is so interesting. I didn't even realise how much I enjoyed diving into her head until I started making this video. There is so much I could talk about. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, you know what to do. Let me know what you want to see next time, because I'm literally out of video ideas now. That was the last one on my list. Also, thank you, you gorgeous lot who have subscribed and got me to 500 subscribers. I love you. A special shout out to all the lovely people who interact with the videos to get it more out there as well. More out there? Oh, I can't be asked to re-record that. But yeah, you guys are my favourites. I released a celebration video of me being pissy playing The Witcher 3 if you want to go and watch that. As always, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Toodaloo!